morning, class. Today we'll be learning how to digitally color a comic book page. Inside of the digital painting fall folder, I've left a file for you named Sonic03. This file has layers inside that are numbered in order of when we should work on them. So let's open it up and look inside. Open up the folder, look inside, Comic Sonic, and here is our file. We have the Sonic 03 PSD. Right click, open with Photoshop. And here's what the file you'll be working on looks like when it is opened. But I have another one that I have already worked on open. Here it is. And this is what we'll be doing today. It's the color flats. So color flats are a tool that comic artists use to create more detailed color effects later on in the process, such as these. What I just turned on and off are the shade and gradient layers, and we'll make those possible through the color flats first. The most important part of color flats is that they not have fuzzy edges. Now that we've zoomed in this much, even though the art is a little wobbly, you can see that all of it has these really sharp edges where you can see to the pixel the differences between colors. See how when I zoom in, you can see a sharp edge between all of them, and that's what you get from good color flats. And the way that we get these sharp edges is by using the pencil tool with a hard round pressure size. There we can see that we have a very sharp, crisp pixel edge. And you want to make sure that you're using the pencil tool and not the brush tool. Here, I'll show you guys the difference. So once we have the brush tool selected, even if we're also under hard round pressure size, look at what happens. No matter how much we change the settings to raise the hardness on the brush, it will always have this fuzzy edge. And that won't allow for it to be a good flatting tool, because at the end of the day, a flatting tool is supposed to allow you to select everything with the magic wand tool. I don't know if you can see, I've made some selections on different colors, and the marching ants are working around those colors. They're working around the selection that we made earlier. They're working around this selection as well. But if we try to select the marks that we just made with the brush tool, you can see that it isn't exactly working because it's only selecting the fuzzy colors, or when it selects the core color, it doesn't select the fuzziness around it. And that's no good. So these two look very similar. You gotta be paying attention to your tools when you select which one you'll be working with. And it's one of those things that's very important to pay attention to in Photoshop. A good way to work on this part is not to pay attention to what colors you're using. We can change those later with the paint bucket tool. And that's what makes color flats so useful. You can change around the individual colors as many times as you need. And that's what happened with this character. Originally, I thought that this was Amy Rose. And Amy Rose is a very pink character. And so I originally colored her in looking like Amy. And it wasn't until later on that I found out that this character's name is Sally and that she has a completely different color scheme. And fortunately, I was able to come in using the paint bucket tool and drop in new colors. And I was able to do that because there's no fuzzy edges, and so we can just drop things inside. This allows a lot of flexibility to color flats. If we needed to completely change the colors of Tails and make him greener, that's entirely within our power. I don't know why you would want to do something so awful, but you can. Here we are well on our way to making him much greener. So this is what we'll be doing today. It's going to be a combination of wrapping things up in a line made by the pencil tool, and then color dropping once you've closed that loop with the paint buckets. And you want to make sure to completely close all the edges, or else you have color leaks like this. Color flats are very straightforward, and all you need to do is just make sure that every part of the drawing has a color element underneath it, and in future lessons we'll get into doing the other things like the gradients and the textures. Let me show you a little preview of what's to come. So far we have done step 1, the color flats. Next up would be step 2, shadow flats. And then after that, we would be combining them together. And then we would be using those color flats and those shadow flats to create texture or gradient shadow flats and gradient or texture color flats. So we'd be taking the tools that we've built before and texturing them and detailing them in a lot of different ways. And then after that, we would be adding some highlights and some details, and we would have our finished comic book piece. And if this looks intimidating, don't worry guys, I'll be there every step of the way, and I'll make sure that we all get a nice, cool looking Sonic image by the end of it. So I'll be walking around the class and helping out anyone who needs it. So if you're a little confused by the assignment, please let me know, flag me down, and I'll come help. Good luck everyone!